So what are we going to talk about today? We have a new registration system through Z-Fairs. This year we are asking, and in the future, hopefully, we'll be asking educators to use this system to register as an educator, as a district coordinator, and to share the link with their educators that are going to be participating. So we're going to talk a little bit about that system. We're going to do a website walkthrough. We're going to talk about our revisions. We have different journals this year. The resources that are available online for you to access by grade bands and the shortcuts to get there. Any new resources that we have for you this year, we're going to be sharing those. And then just reinforcing that we'll be doing monthly virtual recorded educator support calls. And how that can be another resource for us to grow together as people in the invention space and educators around invention education, learn from one another best practices. We know that on this call today, we have educators who are veteran educators with invention education. They've been doing it for more than 5 years or a couple of years at least. And then we have other program leaders and educators that are coming on for the first time. All right, this is it right here. Our registration for the 2021 program year opens today. So that link will be sent out to all of our educators that we have on file by Amy Calhoun, who is our outreach coordinator. And that link will allow you, once you've registered your class, school, program, to start getting access to some of the new assets and where our assets can be found. We are going to close registration this year, February 15th. And the decision to do that is also to facilitate getting our students ready for and ready to advance to the next levels of competition. So you have a nice window to get registered for the program and to get your students through the invention education process and the invention convention process. And we will have, some of you are familiar with this, we have an independent inventor program. And we're asking you as educators and program leaders to please share the information with students that are not able to compete in your programs. We know in some schools, students only compete in certain grade bands or grade levels, but they have had the experience of invention education and invention convention, and they want to invent again. If they are unable to do it through your school program or district program or after school program, please direct them to the independent inventor program so they can register independently and do it at home. We know that these students have the experience of going through the program, so they are pretty adept at doing it independently. And that is really our goal, to inspire a desire to invent again and again in our students. So we want to give them as many pathways as possible. That independent inventor registration will open October 15th. Welcome to those of you who are coming on board. Hi, Jessica, I just saw you come in. All right, so important deadline registration dates for this program year. One thing you're going to notice on here is we have regionals again. If you are an educator who's worked with us, we used to have regional competitions and we didn't have a state competition. Then we had a state competition and we weren't able, or we didn't host the regional competitions any further. This year, we're bringing back regionals and we're going to have a state competition. All of these competitions will be virtual. We had discussions with other invention convention affiliates throughout the US. We talked about it with our board, our sponsors, and given the still somewhat uncertain future of how things are going to be open, and just reserving a venue and making it as easy as possible for you as participating educators and program leaders, we knew we needed to make a decision, because this will help you prepare your students and take them through the process. So all of the competitions will be virtual. With that said, if it is possible and the Ohio State Fair takes place, we would like to do an event there if that opportunity is still available to us. We don't know what kind of changes will be happening if the fair does happen. And that would look like a showcase. And that would be that the students had already been evaluated and judged online, went through all of this process. And I'll go over those dates in just a minute, but I kind of wanted to speak to the Ohio State Fair aspect of it. And then we could have some sort of a celebration. For those of you who have participated at state in the past, you understand the numbers are large. And so again, it comes down to how many people the CDC recommends for people getting together and stuff. But it's not completely ruled out. Now we want to emphasize that it is not mandatory for students if there is a showcase at the fair and an event at the fair, it is not mandatory for students to attend. So they can participate completely virtually. So we want to stress that to you and to your families. So how we're going to hold the regionals, we'll have a Northwest and a Northeast regional competition. That registration opens March 1st, closes April 2nd, and then judging will take place online. We were really excited by the amount of judges that we recruited from not only throughout the state, but throughout the entire US. Virtual judging opened up access for people who typically couldn't or weren't able to judge in person in the past. And we really look forward to more just really interesting quality judges for your students this year. Then the Southwest Southeast Regional, that will open on March 15th and close April 16th. So that means that your students would have to have completed the program through you, then created their video pitch, their video submission, that's how they will be evaluated this year, and have that registration on Z-Fairs completed by the close of that registration period. And then you can see when the judging would take place for Southwest and Southeast, April 16th to May 2nd. And then we have the Central Regional. Registration opens on March 30th, closes April 30th. And then the judging will take place May 9th through May 23rd. After all of those judging periods have concluded for the regionals, then we will be opening up the state competition. So we're excited to say that at those regional competitions, there will be college savings awards. So it's another opportunity for your students to be recognized. There most likely won't be as many college savings awards as we present at the state, but we're really excited that we'll be able to offer some at each regional. And then students will advance from the regional competitions onto our state competition. We will not know exactly how many slots everyone has until we see what our overall participation is in each regional, but we want to make sure that students from all over the state are advancing to the state competition and well represented. We will have a virtual award ceremony, and it's to be determined. That would take place in August after we get those results finalized with the judging happening for the state competition from June 7th to June 21st. Students will be, after they're notified that they're advancing and they have the opportunity to advance to the state competition, they will have until June 6th to get registered. So we hope you guys are as excited about these new changes and more levels of student participation and preparation as they move through the invention program and share their inventions and their pitch videos. So how do you know what section your school or your district belongs to? We did this little breakdown map, and I realize my N looks a little bit like a W up there in the left corner, but it is Northwest. So here are the regions. You can see which counties. So what you'll do is, locate your county, and then that is the regional that your students. So the Northwest, Northeast, those are the counties that will compete in that regional competition. The Southwest and Southeast, this grouping of counties will compete in that regional competition, and then the Central Regional will be these counties, and students will advance from there. And in the registration process, when you are signing up your school to participate or district, you will have the opportunity, one of the fields that you'll have to complete is what district or what region you are in. So this map will be a reference for you to be clear on what you should put down. This will help us understand our participation throughout the regions in the state. All right, there's so many benefits. Those of you who have participated before know that there are lots of benefits associated with our program. Our program is the only access to those escalating series of events like the regional, state. So the students have the opportunity to advance from your local fairs to the regional, to the state, So the National Invention Convention and the Global Invention Convention is a forthcoming event as well. What I can say about this year's Invention Convention US Nationals, it will be a virtual event, and our students that are advancing to the 2021 Invention Convention US Nationals were the students who placed in our 2020 state competition. So if you had students who placed in that competition, we are awaiting how many invitations our state receives. We know at this point in time, we feel fairly confident that our Edisons, our industry award winners, are going to be able to compete virtually. It will be a virtual competition this year. And we are hoping that all of our first, second, and third place inventors are going to be representing the state of Ohio too. All of those students who are eligible that were recognized in the ceremony and our honorable mentions will be in the next week or two receiving the update and the schedule for mentoring calls that I will host with those students to help them prepare and continue to improve their invention. And even though it is not certain whether the first, second, and third place inventors will be representing the state and the honorable mentions, we still want them to participate because it's a wonderful mentoring opportunity for them. We'll have real world industry experts on those calls. And there'll also be an opportunity for other students that participated at state to join those calls as well. So just wanted to fill you guys in on that, leaders and program leaders. Another great benefit is the positive press that comes for your district. If you haven't seen your inventors being celebrated, if you participated last year in the news, please go to our website. We're gonna do some tours of that, but we share it in blogs. We share a lot of that information on our social media channels, and it's a really great opportunity to celebrate the great work that you're doing in your districts. And also, by participation, your students have the possibility of being invited to special events. For the past 3 years, we've hosted a Kid Inventor Day at the State House. We are in the process of planning that again this year, and it's looking like it will be a virtual event, and students will be recognized with commendations from their state senators. It's a really cool thing. Families love it, the kids love it. It's a really special day, and it's a great thing to share with your district again. We also have we're gonna have a virtual practice convention to help students prepare and to keep pitching their inventions, and that is typically involves the students who are alumni inventors and have participated already through the program, and then mentoring experiences throughout the year. So lots of great stuff.
Hey, Abby, could I jump in real quick?
Sure.
So I just wanted to clarify, Jessica, great question. So about regionals and states. So one of the things that we want to do as a team this year is try to help and do everything we can to de-stress your lives as teachers, because we know it's yet another very different year. So in reference to those of you who have been around for quite a while and you've done your local events, if you still want to and your district says you can do that, perfectly fine. Go ahead and do that exactly as you always have. But in the case where your district or you as a teacher say, you know, we just absolutely can't because of whatever, CDC guidelines, that's where you can send those kids through to regionals. And while last year we let more kids come into state, the way that would work this year would be through regionals. So if you do not have a local event for your district, because that's not possible, it absolutely is fine to send those kids to regionals, because we want to step in and help you with that. That's it.
Thanks, Robin. And that was Robin Hilsmeyer, our executive director, for those of you who maybe have not met her before. So thank you, Robin. And Robin's going to be speaking again later in the call. So great question, Jessica. Oh, but I went past that slide. I just wanted to also add, you know, one of the other great benefits of students being part of this program is the development of the skills that they're going to need for the future workforce. And as you look through this list, you can see the complex problem solving, the critical thinking skills, the creativity, the coordinating with others, the development of their emotional intelligence and those social emotional skills that are so important right now for our for our students. Judgment, decision making, cognitive flexibility, it's all there in this program. So it's a really hands-on, project-based learning way to help these kids authentically and in a experiential way develop these skills. All right, I would like to introduce Amy Calhoun now to talk about this registration system that I mentioned in the overview, the ZFAIRS Educator Program Leader registration system that you will all need to register through. So Amy, you may be muted.
Yes, I am ready. Hi, I'm Amy Calhoun. It's great to not really see all you people right now, but I will. I wonder if I can go on gallery view and I can see all of you. Well, anyway, I'm Abby. Why don't you stop your share so I can share the screen to talk about the ZFAIRS situation here?
Now we can see more faces.
Oh, yeah. All right. So there we go. My screen sharing, it got small on me. Nope, there we go. All right, so everyone will receive the registration link. We're gonna have it on the website. I'm gonna email it to all of our past teachers and coordinators. But when you get the registration link, when you click on it, will take you directly to this page. You won't have to go anywhere else to find it. We're taking you directly there. So the first thing that you will do as an educator is go up to the Create Account tab. And then you're an educator, so you choose Teacher. Here you want to put your first and last name. I'm just going to pick somebody here. And then your email address. Then you add in all of your address information. And then this is where it gives you your username. You need to keep your username, and then when you make your password, you need to also keep that information because that is how you will get back in to your account. Let's make my password here. To make any changes to add in when you're going to know what your numbers are going to be.
Jessica, that's another great question. It's everyone.
Okay.
What was the question?
Does everyone need to register, just squad leaders? And we're going to talk about this in just a second, but the answer is everyone. We'll explain that more. Amy's getting to that.
Okay, and then it gives you an option to choose if you're a general ed teacher, coordinator, a gifted coordinator. I'm just going to choose a teacher, and then variable will automatically come up as a teacher. And then, oops, why do my passwords not match? Let's try it this time. I don't know if it's just stalling. There we go. Apparently, you need to make sure you have all of these characters. There we go. Got past it. All right, so keep your username and your password to get into your account later. School that you teach at. All of the schools in the state of Ohio have already been added to the system, so you just scroll down and pick which one it is. If you're in more than one school, just choose this. If you're a coordinator and you're into more than one school, just choose the school that you're at. So I'm just going to pick one here. If your school is not here for some reason, you can add your school in. It should be here, but again, there's a tool to be able to do that. Okay. If you are a gifted or enriched teacher, you can add that in there. We want to know, are you the coordinator for your district, or are you just an educator? So if you're a coordinator, I'm going to say I'm the coordinator. What grade do you teach? If you have more than one, please list them. So I teach the 3rd and 4th grade. Do you know how many students you're going to have participating when you register? No, that's going to be, you're not going to know. But that's why you keep your username and password. So later you can come back in and say, okay, I know it's 2 months from now and I know I'm going to have 100 kids. So I'm going to put there. And that way it helps us to know for slotting purposes, for judging purposes, especially virtually, we're going to need to know how many judges we need to know, need to have. So that just helps us with that. If you are the district coordinator and you know the names of your teachers, add them in for us, please. And hopefully they will be then registering themselves. Do you use the curriculum in your school and district program, and you're holding a school, local or district competition or an online invention convention competition for advancement to the regional competition? That means that you are holding your own competition at your school or through your district to get your kids to the regional competition. So you're advancing your own kids there. Are you only using the invention convention curriculum in your school or district or program with no students advancing to the invention convention competitions? That means I just like using the invention convention in my school, but my kids don't go and compete anywhere. All right, I'm going to choose that. And then which region are you in? That helps us to determine slotting numbers and numbers for judging later. What county? This helps us keep track of where our schools are at, where our reach is right now. Okay, now, do you have a personal email address? And this is important because when the pandemic hit, we had a lot of teachers were gone and they were not getting their work email. And then we were trying to contact them about getting their students registered and just keeping in touch with them. And some of our emails were going into spam and not getting there. So we would like a personal email address for you that we will not share with anyone, just to make sure that we are able to get in touch with you and your students to make sure that they're getting served as best that they can through us. Okay, if you know your school ID, we'd love to have that information. It helps us, again, with making sure that everyone's getting served. And that helps us with our sponsors knowing, hey, this is an area, maybe, let's try to help them out here. It's just one of those things for demographics. Okay, if you're not hosting a live or virtual district school local competition, how will you be advancing your students to your region's regional competition? So this is the question of, okay, we need to know, if you're not going to do it, are you sending them directly to us regionally? And that helps us to know, once again, how many students we're going to be having, because we see that you have 100 students and you're telling us they're going directly to regional. So we know then that that's more kids to add into that group that we're needing to find judges for and to help facilitate. So I'm just going to add something there, and it's going to make us do everything. Okay. All right. So then it shows you that you're done, reminds you of your username, and then it gives you some more information about how many kids you're going to be allowed to have, some information about boards, reminder about just a few informational things that you will also be receiving in other correspondence. So you're all done. You will get an email from ZFairs saying that you are registered. If you would happen to not get an email from them letting you know that you are officially registered, please let me know, and I will go in and check and make sure that your registration is complete. So that is the ZFair system. Do we have any questions right now about that?
So Amy, we had a question about virtual schools as far as how they would register. So do you want to take that one or do you want me to?
I believe what we had decided was that the student would register for the regional where they live. So if you live in Cleveland, then you would be in the Northeast region. So that is how we decided that we would want to do that.
So I happened to notice one other thing in the Z Fairs, and we're going to come back to it, but I just wanted to make sure that there was, we didn't cause confusion. This year, in our effort to go virtual and support you guys as best we possibly can, journals are going to be digital if you would like. You can use paper if you want, but if you'd rather just take the Word document, put it in Google Classroom and do it, perfectly fine for you to do that. The other thing that we are in the process of working on knowing that we are going virtual is, again, the option. You could do an actual display board if your student wants to do that, or you could do a digital display board. So if they want to do it in Google Slides or PowerPoint, we are working on that as well, knowing that it's just going to be a little different this year. And again, whatever we can do to enable you to do it in any model whatsoever is where we're going to, and making sure that nobody has to be stressed about any of that stuff.
And all of that information will also be in the frequently asked questions, which will be on the educator resource page, which we will be getting to. So if you need that information, it will be out there.
And to address Jessica's, she made a comment about 6 minutes for the video pitch presentation, video submission. Keep in mind that they can't go past 6 minutes. We don't want students, and we have very specific, we have a video pitch guidelines page for you all that you can use with in those assets that you'll be able to access once you register. But that is, certainly dependent on the grade level, and also we don't want them adding things so it gets to be 6 minutes. Since our program goes to the high school level, sometimes when you have a team, and we're going to talk about teams in a little bit too, and what we're allowing in terms of the upper levels for teams, they might need 6 minutes to talk about a more complex presentation or project than what maybe our second grader would use. So it's not that you're going to get more points if your video is right at 6 minutes or longer. In fact, we can really tell when people are just trying to get it to that point. So say what you need to say, and do it in the most concise, comprehensive way. So, okay, I'm going to share my screen again.
Okay, so we're going to tag team a little bit. I want to tell you a little bit about the curriculum. So you want me to keep going, or did I step in on Amy's stuff?
I think we're good. That's okay.
Oopsie.
And Amy already covered, I'm going to go to slideshow mode. So we already covered this. Amy shared why we need that information. And so thank you for really filling out that ZFairs registration for getting your school registered and sharing it with your educators to help us for our sponsor reporting, and also to let people know, the variety of students and the comprehensive nature of our program throughout the state. All right, I'm going to pass it over to Amy. And she is going to talk to you about the new Password Protected Educator Program Leader page on our website.
Okay. We this year have made one page that will be password protected, that you'll receive a link once you register. That page will have all of the information on how to implement your program in one place. What we have done this year is we have also made 3 different age categories, K through 2 or 3, depending on which way you want your kids to go. If you're moving them, you're keeping them in the K through 3 level or putting them in the 3 through 7 levels. It depends on where your kids are at and what you prefer. But we have on that teacher resource page, which I believe, Abby, you can show the slide, is the next slide, the front page of that. So when you get your link, it will go to this page. And then there will be a password you'll be given. And when you hit the password in, then the next page will come up. And this is all the 2020-21 program materials. So what we've done is there are 3 different separate pages that you will click on for those different grade categories. And they're one on top of another. So if you're going to be teaching 2nd grade, then you will click on the top one, and then that will take you into the curriculum that is only for that age category, resources for that age category, videos, activities, those are all there age-based. And then it has the rubric, and it has the video pitch guidelines. It has some, what else is on there?
The FAQs? No.
The FAQs, yes, the FAQs are on there. Everything, I call it an all-in-one page. So you don't have to go anywhere else. It's right there for you. So that's the first 3 tabs. If you want to scroll down, no, stay on that page, Ab, that you were on.
It's a screenshot, Aim, so I can't scroll down on the page any further. That's all the...
Okay, I thought you could. Okay, all right. And then underneath that are implementation and support materials, our planning guides, our planning calendar, the how-to guide. If you're new, then this tells you how to start doing an invention convention program in your school. Now this year, again, it's a really stressful year for everyone. If you go to these planning guides and follow them, it will help you. But there's a lot of information in there that maybe make it seem cumbersome when it's not. So going to the educator materials first and looking at that, all these planning calendars are in there as well. So you don't have to use every item if it's not something that you feel like you need or that might work for you. Okay, go on to the next slide.
And Amy, and just to reiterate what Amy's saying, if you take those shortcuts, those all-in-one shortcuts, the essential pieces that you need for your grade bands are going to be in there. These are additional supplemental support, but we're trying to offer you as much as we possibly can to make sure that you have what you need for your administrators, what you have for teachers that you're bringing on board that are new, or even family members, depending on how you're implementing your program.
Thank you, Abby. You're much more articulate than I am, so I appreciate you coming in. Okay, and again, more planning. We have people ask, how long does it take to do the program? Well, we always tell people it varies on how you're administering your program. But here, there's been an 8-week pacing guide put together and a 10-week pacing guide put together to kind of give you an outline of how you might do your program in different weeks, a different amount of time. And then there's also the learning standards that are met by our program. And so that also is on that site, so you can look at that and share it with other people. Next. Okay. Also, on the bottom of that page at the end, California Invention Convention has been kind enough to share some of their resources that they are using this year. So it's extra resources for the educators, for the kids. So please feel free to use that. They get some extra virtual learning curriculum, so that also is on there for you to use.
Well, you can find all of these items on that password protected front page. They're all listed, underneath those 3 grade bands that Amy was discussing at the first part of the call. And this particular piece, I think, will be really helpful for educators as we're navigating these different learning styles and models. And California, like Amy said, has done a terrific job helping us as an invention education community, invention convention community, break these down and make the curriculum and implementing the program in a variety of ways really easy for you all. And so we hope you have the opportunity to check that out. The next.
Oh, you want to take this out? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. So also, we mentioned teams earlier. An update for this year: 9 through 12 will be able to be on teams of 4. We're keeping teams at K through 8, in the K through 8 grade bands at 2 people on a team, a 2 person limit. The journals are, as Amy mentioned, separated into different grade bands. And those third graders, when we think about them, it is really up to, after you look at the two versions of the journal and understanding where your students are and what best fits them, that would be, you make the choice about which one you wanted to use after you review them. So just to recap, all assets are on that password protected page. Amy is going to, once you get registered, she will send that to you. The journals can be found there. And if for some reason you haven't been in touch with Amy or haven't gotten, registered, or you're still having questions about how to do all this stuff, just contact her at info@inventionleague.org to register for the program and receive the materials and the link to the assets. All right, I think it's time to check out our website for those of you who, it's just always good to have a refresher on how to navigate it, what's there, and to then help our new program leaders and educators. So I'm going to kick that over to, I believe Amy is going to get that going for Robin.
Yes, I'm good. I'm going to open that up.
Okay, so if you open that up. So a couple things I wanted to just reiterate about the curriculum. After our focus group this summer, it was kind of surprising. We actually had people who said, oh my goodness, I had no idea that was there. And I thought, well, we have to make sure that we fix that. So there's a couple things I want to make sure that we let all of our teachers know, because again, our idea is for this year and always, we want to de-stress what you guys are going through and give you a program that genuinely you can just take it and go with it. So when you go to the website and it looks like this, you would click at the top where it says curriculum. And that will go to Invention Convention Curriculum. Now, you will pick whichever band you would want to look at. Just for right now, I'm just going to say, okay, let's go with 3 through 5. And so we'll click on 3 through 5. Will this scroll? Oh, there we go. So as you scroll down, you're going to see the whole process for this band 3 through 5. So your first lesson is your introduction, your overview, your lessons. And again, every single thing you need to teach that entire introduction is there. So let's go down to identifying. So we went through introduction, and now we're going to go to identifying and click on overview. You're going to, then it'll pop up. You have a video that you can use as your intro, and your summary gives all the teacher stuff that you guys need. Now, once you do your intro, if you click on recommended lessons where it says Scamper, it is going to pop up your entire everything you need for that lesson. So you're going to have your lesson plan, the entire PowerPoint, your worksheets, rubrics, self-assessment, like resources, and again, and that's for every single part of the invention process as you go through it with your students. So just know, once you are getting started, it's not anything you have to create. You can use as much as you want. If you want to put your own personal flair and use a portion of it and then you go and do your own stuff, that's okay too. Earlier in the slide deck, it talked about hybrid learning. So one of the things we like to do with all of the other Invention Convention affiliates is to share. So it's kind of like Teachers Pay Teachers, where I know all you teachers collaborate and share things. Well, we're like that too. Ours is free though. Woohoo! So that part on the California Invention Convention, they spent a lot of time this summer very specifically working on hybrid learning, because we knew that was going to be a big issue this year. So those are the actual exact steps that you would click on. The website, the next thing you click on is educators, curriculum, link to virtual learning. And once you open that up, there's a big Google Drive And again, it's divided by grade band. And you're going to open it up and you're going to find something very similar to what you're seeing right now, but it's designed for hybrid learning. So again, the things that, if you are in that hybrid type of scenario, what you're going to do with them in the classroom, and then when they're at home and they're supposed to be doing things and you really, really don't want to have mom or dad help them, those lessons are there also. And all they have to do, you give them the assignment, and it just truly talks and works their way through that lesson with the student without supervision from a parent or another adult. So again, everything we can try to do to de-stress your year. So that kind of gives you an overview of the curriculum.
All right, I stopped my share, Ab.
Okay, great. All right, thanks for the walkthrough. That was great. So many great resources there. And then also, if you did, beyond the curriculum and, accessing that the password protected page, keep in mind that at our, on the front page, we have blogs, we share news and updates and opportunities. So it is really helpful to direct your families and students and the people that you work with to the website as well. So inventionconvention.org/Ohio/. And then that's just another recap of what the screen looks like when you get there, the curriculum. And then, again, this is just a recap of what Robin and Amy were sharing with you when they did the walkthrough. We are going to be sending out the slide deck as a PDF. So we have inserted these slides. So for the people who don't necessarily want to listen to the whole presentation, but just kind of find the information. All right,
so Abby, one more thing that I should throw in there, because I know back in the day when I was teaching, I had to list our objectives. Again, this is another one of those, in case you didn't know, if you go on the website, all of the lessons that are in the curriculum are mapped to, in GSS, they're mapped to the Ohio Common Core. They also meet all of your social and emotional learning standards. So again, you are meeting all of those standards through the lessons. There are links to that on the website that will help you if you have to actually designate what learning objectives you are working on.
Great, thanks, Robin. So do we have any questions? Were there any questions at chat that we would like to read out loud? Would anyone like to unmute their mic and just ask a question about any of the aspects of the website and the resources and the ZFair system of registering your program here?
We did just have a question, Abby, that I'll go ahead, instead of typing in the answer, I will go ahead and answer it. The question is, does your superintendent or administrator, as in the past, have to register your program? No, as a coordinator, you can register your program and then let us know, then let your teachers know to also register under you as their district coordinator. So superintendents no longer have to be the one to register your program.
Yeah, we really understand that that can sometimes be a bit of a hurdle to try and get access to the superintendent and have them sign off. And I mean, we feel pretty confident that they should be okay with what we're doing, given the fact Paulo Di Maria, the superintendent of all of the Ohio Department of Education, attended our state competition the year before last in 2019, and was very impressed with what we were doing. So if by chance you feel like you need that step, I mean, just because of your, chain of admin, I mean, you can, but it is not necessary. Any other questions that we see in chat, or anybody want to ask out loud before we move on those items that we've already covered? We really don't have that much left, and we want to kind of keep it to an hour. So I'm going to move through, and if Amy and Robin see things come through in chat, then we can get those at the end. Okay, so YouTube resources and videos. We know that right now YouTube is a great resource, and that many of our young people are already watching YouTube. Let's give them something constructive to look at instead of some of the other things that are on there, is my personal feeling. But so we just want to make a couple of recommendations of channels that I think are really helpful for supplemental learning and to like assign things for kids to do on their own, get them excited, realize that kids, young people, I don't want to say just kids, young people, you know, high school, middle, elementary are inventing, and they have been, and they've invented some really great things. Did I mention Invention is a show that's on the CW? They have a channel on YouTube, and it's really cool. In fact, Ali Ward is the host of that show and has hosted the National Invention Convention for the past 2 years, and or 3 years, maybe 2. I know that for sure. And also on those episodes that you can find listed, you will find Ohio inventors that were interviewed by Ali at the National Invention Convention in the past, and other real kids that went through invention convention programs. It's a well-executed show. There's all kinds of components to it. Check it out. Of course, Henry Ford's Innovation Nation, a great resource. They use the collection. They're talking to contemporary inventors and also giving the historical perspective on inventing. Another show that I recently just came across that has a channel on YouTube, and also it plays in some parts of the country, Think Big. And it is hosted by children, young people. They do the experiments or the invention process, and you know, you can find specific topics for episode topics. So for instance, if you're introducing the testing and redefining step in the invention process, you could go to Think Big and watch these young people testing out the inventions that they've created. So it really goes well hand in hand. And then we were super excited to find one of our very own educators who's been having his students participate in Invention Convention for the last few years. Todd has Todd Talks. And Todd's last name is escaping me right now, Amy.
Todd Stanley from Pickerington.
Yes. And so he has a YouTube channel called Todd Talks. He has one that's specifically about the Invention Convention. So if you are a district coordinator and want to be introducing this opportunity to other educators that you work with in your district and at your school, in your building, he has a whole episode about Invention Convention, and then also about project-based learning. Really helpful channel. It's so well done, and we were excited to find that. And then of course we have our Invention League channel that has lots of videos of kids talking about their inventions over the years. And then we also have created the Invention League Network. This year's state ceremony can be found, the recording of the virtual ceremony can be found on the Invention League Network. And as Professor Prototype starts creating more assets for you all to use, those will be found on the Invention League Network as well. We have created a video asset list in the teacher resources that Amy will be having on those password protected pages, and we'll be updating that. It'll have links in it for you to get directly to some of the things that we are highlighting and think are interesting, and then those new assets. Another thing we want to remind you of is our social media channels. We have been doing a lot to celebrate our young inventors over the past few months, since we haven't been able to really be with them in person. And so you can find spotlights about students who participated, not just the students who earned awards, but participated in the state competition. So if you want to talk to your students and they're saying, I don't know, all the problems have been solved, I don't know how I can find a problem, inspiration might be found by having them look at some of the spotlights and what kind of problems were these other students solving? Well, helps one to use condiments or open them that are hard to open. You know, and that starts to jog their, you know, their creative juices and get them brainstorming. Also, we really want you to be following our social channels so that you can see when we're sharing important updates. It's a great way to share things also push them out in your school pages and district pages. We're finding more and more schools do have them now. So you can find us at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invention League. And then on this, there's also a great video that is in this slide deck, the Kid Inventors Tell All, and I think you can find it, we'll make sure you have a link to that as well, but it's an 11-minute video that was done by the New Yorker magazine, very impressive. You'll find some Ohio inventors, kid inventors on there too, and they talk about being kid inventors. And I mean, it's probably more geared towards the younger group, but it's a really great video. All right, so for more information about anything that we've talked about today, anything that you're feeling, I know many of you may have Amy's direct email, but info@inventionleague.org. We're constantly checking that for questions. And you can reach out to any of us, Robin at inventionleague.org, Amy, inventionleague.org, or Abby, inventionleague.org.
I don't know that we touched on the journal as far as the K through 2/3 journal. It has been at least halved this year because that was something that we had talked about, that educators felt like for that age group it was a lot of work. So if you have younger students and you have a chance to look at that journal, it has been modified and condensed a lot for ease of use for teachers, students, and families.
And we do have we have resources built around helping your students make their pitch videos. And there's a whole lesson, a whole unit around that, technology that you can be talking about, because they'll have to utilize technology to make those videos, whether they're choosing to use a handheld device like a smartphone, an iPad, or actually getting in there and doing some video production work, which hits that STEAM, the art part, which we love. So. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you for being the superheroes that you are. What a year you have been through. And the admiration that we have for all of you is tremendous. And I think our entire world needs to understand and is understanding just how critical and essential our educators are. So thank you for all you do. We can't do what we do without you. So thank you.
Yay, thank you guys.
All right, have a great rest of your week. We're here for you. Take care. See you next time.
Thank you.